speaking of that, your platform. Now, what all have you been able to do so far? With with the limitations that you got,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
your platform. What all have you been able to do
Man,
and get out?
it has been such an honor. And I know that, we talk about 2020 and the things that haven't been able to happen, but I will say lots of things are still happening in the works and continuing to happen. One of my really, I think, biggest accomplishments throughout this year, and where I've felt that my platform has been able to move forward in practice, like not just, let's talk about this, but like how do we go and apply these
Right.
things? And that has been through my role on a international committee for the Kiwanis International Chapter. So I'm a part of Kiwanis Clubs of Bloomington and South Central Indiana, and I was approached with the opportunity to be the United States representative for this international committee that they formed on diversity and inclusion.
Wow.
So not only was that just such an honor, kind of like even feeling a little
Yeah.
underqualified, like little me from Indiana, like can I
Well,
represent,
once again, it's one of those things that came out of it.
Yeah, very, very true. Very true. And I mean, just having this opportunity to connect with people from all over the world and,
Because
all
that's
of
a
us.
really big organization.
Yeah, it is. It
It's
is.
a huge organization.
It is.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
And I mean, for me, it's been joining. So it's virtual. We have all of our meetings via Zoom, but to have the same goal of how can we make our community where each of us are living all over the world more diverse and inclusive. So much has come out of that. A lot of things that we're kind of adding to our toolkit and resources that we're sharing out. But for me, it's been stuff that I'm like, you know what? As I learn, I'm ready to just give it all out. So I've been connecting with local businesses. Just as they kind of hear about these opportunities and are reaching out, I'm able to train staff on diversity, equity, and
Okay.
inclusion. I've implemented and kind of helped to lead the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative at my job with Make-A-Wish. So it's just been really cool how, what for me, my platform is my passion, it's my heart, but I'm really seeing it in so many different spaces of my life, from my career to my personal life, and just what I'm doing in the community as Mrs. Indiana.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, that's, I think, for me, a big part of what I have taken pride in that I've been able to do. But for me, I want to never stop working in the, what is needed as far as DEI work goes. So, I mean, even today, I spoke this morning at a church in Bloomington, shared with them what my platform is, shared with them some challenges and what they can do to help make a difference. That's something that we all need. I think it's important that we recognize that it's an ongoing conversation. It's not, hey, check, I attended a training, I'm good now.
No.
We've got to keep going. So that's what I'm here to do. I'm just here to keep the conversation going. I'm here to make people uncomfortable. Sounds so funny to say.
Yeah,
But
well,
yeah.
that's the that's growth.
Yeah.
And for years, well, going through my thing, that was one of my big things, is to do things that I didn't like to do, that made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things, I was like, that's what I'm going to start doing. Because I kind of figured, everything that I like doing had got me in a bad situation. So I figured I might as well try the opposite side, and it worked.
Yes.
But, with you, now, as far as how important is it with you being a woman of color and, being Mrs. Indiana, how important is that to little girls, that look like you,
Yeah, I think representation is extremely important. There's an experience that I had that I will never forget, and I always love sharing this story. It gives me chills, like every time I think about it. But you mentioned being Miss IU in the past. Some of my background in holding titles in the past awarded me so many opportunities to be a part of parades and different community events. And so there was a parade in particular, I believe it was IU Homecoming, but this was back in 2016. I'm in a parade, and afterward, just connecting with families and kiddos, and I recall a young girl looking up to her parents, so just seeming to be mesmerized, beautiful young black girl, just really kind of seeming to be mesmerized. And it's moments like these where you're like, oh, like they're the princess. Like I'm looking at all these kids, like, oh my goodness, like you're the future. You are so powerful. And I think for me, this moment that just really, in a lot of ways, has stuck with me. Her looking to her dad's and saying she has hair like mine. I don't think in that moment I realized how powerful that was for just even a kid to recognize like her hair looks like mine. Like maybe that was the first time that I've seen.
That's how much she was looking at you.
Yeah. And maybe it's even, I've seen beauty queens before, but I've never seen one that looked like me. Or I've seen, and I think those things are so important, not just for pageantry, but that if a young black boy wants to be a scientist, that he sees someone that looks like him, or, whatever that is, LGBTQ community. I think it's so, so important for all of our backgrounds to be represented. Just knowing that there's power in seeing. I share this a lot, but I remember growing up as a kid being told, like, you can be anything. And I think for a lot of us, if we're honest with ourselves, that's hard to believe until you see that done by someone that looks like you. That's just the truth of it. I mean, I don't know that I ever thought a young black girl could be the vice president of the United States, but I now believe it's possible. It's happened. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, even from that experience of meeting that family and that young girl at that parade, her dad's actually reached out to me on an app. I used to babysit for families in Bloomington, and so it was just so cool to reconnect with them. And they shared with me, like, our daughter has been talking about you, and just really, really was inspired to see you as a black woman, showing her that you too can chase your dreams, go to do whatever it is that you set your mind to. And so when you talk about being a black woman and being Mrs. Indiana, I mean, those are the things I think about, just the power of representation and really the need for it.
It's a whole nother ballgame too, seeing something on TV versus seeing the person in front of you. You know what I mean? It's one thing to see Michael Jordan on TV. It's a whole nother ballgame to see him standing right in front of you. And it's the same as you. You know what I mean? It's one thing for her to see you on a commercial or in a parade going by, you know what I mean? But it's a whole nother thing when she's standing right there in front of you and she realizes, she's real. Like, she's me. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like I said, it's got to be a pretty cool feeling that, you know what I mean, that you're in that position to be able to do that, you know what I mean?
I love that. I love that you said she is me. Like, I think that's deep, and that's what it is.
I mean, because that's what she gets to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All these money.